In the movie Hypnotic, Jen is struggling with trauma and decides to try hypnotherapy with Dr. Colin. However, as Jen begins her sessions, strange and disturbing events start happening. What dark secrets lie behind Dr. Colin's therapy, and can Jen escape his evil plans before it's too late? At the start of the film, a woman named Andrea Bowen was in her office. She looked very upset and distressed as she tried to call Detective Wade Rollins. The call went to voicemail because Wade's phone was off. Andrea then went to the elevator to leave. She received a call from an unknown number. A man's voice on the other end said, "Andrea, this is how the world ends." At that moment, the elevator stopped between floors and the walls began closing in. Andrea felt claustrophobic and started screaming. In another scene, a girl named Jen Thompson attended a party hosted by Gina and her husband to celebrate their new house. At the party, Gina introduced Jen to her psychiatrist, Dr. Colin Mead. Gina praised Dr. Colin, saying that she had made great progress. Gina suggested that Jen might benefit from therapy, but Jen refused. Brian, Jen's ex-fiance, was also at the party. When he tried to eat something, Jen warned him that it had sesame, which he was allergic to. Dr. Colin then gave Jen his business card, inviting her to visit if she needed help. We learned that Jen was dealing with trauma and was unemployed. After the party, Jen waited outside for a taxi. Brian came up to her and asked if she would take him back and spend the night together. Jen refused. Brian said it was too late, but offered to drop her home. The next day, Jen told Gina about the encounter. Gina advised her to see Dr. Colin for help to get motivated and regain control of her life. Jen initially refused but agreed after Gina's insistence. On Gina's advice, Jen visited Dr. Colin the next day. She saw a girl leaving Dr. Colin's office who told Jen that he would help her and that he had helped her too. Jen then spoke with Dr. Colin about her problems, saying she felt unmotivated, lost, and drank a lot. She explained that she and Brian had been engaged but broke up after she miscarried 6 months into her pregnancy. Jen blamed Brian for her problems. Dr. Colin suggested hypnotherapy, but Jen was hesitant about letting anyone control her mind. He explained that hypnotherapy would help her manage her subconscious mind while staying in control. He mentioned his mentor, Dr. Xavier Sullivan. After much convincing, Jen agreed to try hypnotherapy. Dr. Colin hypnotized her, and Jen found herself in a jungle. When she woke up, an hour had passed, and she could not remember anything. After 3 months of hypnotherapy, Jen was more active, had found a good job, and felt better. One night, she had a troubling dream where she was on a bed in a house with Dr. Colin. This dream woke her up feeling uneasy. One day at the mall, Jen ran into Dr. Colin. She hadn't seen him for therapy in weeks. Colin asked why, and Jen explained she had been busy, planned to return soon. They decided to get coffee together. Jen shared details about her week and asked Colin about his personal life, noting she didn't know much about him. Colin revealed that he had been married once, but his wife had died. He hadn't remarried because he still loved her deeply. Colin then asked about Jen's relationship with Brian. Jen said Brian often called her, but she ignored him and was unsure about their future. Colin suggested Jen invite Brian to dinner to discuss their issues. Jen agreed and went outside to call Brian. She received a call from an unknown number, and the caller said something that left her feeling disoriented. Later, Jen found herself at home with food on the table. She heard noise from the bathroom and discovered Brian unconscious after vomiting. Jen rushed him to the hospital. Afterwards, she met Gina and told her she only remembered being near the coffee shop and nothing after that. Jen felt guilty about Brian's suffering. She visited Dr. Colin and explained everything. Colin advised her to confront her fears. That night, Jen had the same unsettling dream about being with Colin. She woke up, went to get water, and saw a list of items she had bought. She remembered someone had called her after she left the store. On the list was sesame oil, which Brian was allergic to. Jen suspected Dr. Colin because she wouldn't have bought sesame oil on purpose. Only Jen, Gina, her husband, and Colin knew about Brian's allergy. Jen researched Dr. Colin and discovered alarming facts. Several girls who had therapy with him had memory loss, and 3 had died. Jen took this evidence to Gina, claiming her memory issues were related to Colin. Gina was initially skeptical, but agreed after seeing the evidence. They went to Detective Wade, who revealed that previous investigations into similar deaths had been closed due to lack of evidence. Wade showed them footage of Andrea Bowen, who had an illusion about the elevator shrinking and died from a heart attack. Andrea had also been Colin's patient. Wade advised them to stop hypnotherapy. Outside the police station, Gina revealed Colin had also hypnotized her and might have learned details about Jen and Brian. They decided never to return to Colin. Jen wanted to understand what happened during her therapy sessions, so she decided to record her conversations with Dr. Colin. She turned on a voice recorder and visited Colin without an appointment. Colin suspected something was wrong, but Jen asked for a hypnosis session to feel more at ease. Meanwhile, Detective Wade was reinvestigating the deaths of the 3 girls and discovered new information. After Jen's session, she listened to the recording on her phone. In it, Colin asked her why she was there. While hypnotized, Jen revealed everything, including that she was recording him. Jen tried to call Gina to share what she had learned, but Gina and her husband were on their way somewhere and couldn't hear her clearly. During this time, Colin called Gina and said, "Gina, this is how the world is going to end." After hearing this, Gina had a frightening experience and found a large spider on her body, which terrified her. Gina's husband was confused by her behavior, and they got into an accident because Gina was not functioning properly. Gina died in the crash. Detective Wade then visited Colin to investigate Gina and her husband's deaths. During their conversation, Wade took a spoon to collect Colin's fingerprint. Wade asked Colin why his 3 patients, who looked alike and had seen him for therapy, had died. Colin denied any knowledge or involvement. Wade warned Jen about the 3 victims and told her to be cautious of her surroundings. He mentioned that Jen's face resembled the 3 girls and suggested that Colin might have intended to kill her, but had not done so yet for some reason. After Wade left, Colin came to Jen's house. Jen tried to close the door when she saw him, but he managed to open it. When she attempted to run away, Colin told her not to go, and she found herself unable to move. Colin expressed his feelings, saying he wanted Jen to be with him. He admitted he had killed Gina because she was interfering and threatened to kill Wade next. Colin then went outside and told Jen to relax. After hearing this, Jen collapsed. Afterwards, Jen called Wade for help, but his phone was off. While Wade was watching TV at home, a girl came in and tried to kill him. This girl was the same one Jen had seen leaving Colin's office when she first visited. Colin had hypnotized her and sent her to kill Wade. Wade managed to kill her to save himself. The next day, Jen visited Wade in the hospital. She said she would see another psychiatrist to try to remember what had happened during her sessions with Colin. Jen then went to a female psychiatrist and told her everything. The doctor agreed to hypnotize Jen, help her remember by exploring her subconscious mind. While hypnotized, Jen saw a house with 1010 Haven, the Sullivans, written on it. She saw herself and Colin there. However, Jen soon felt suffocated because Colin had completely controlled her subconscious mind. Another person could not enter it. Colin had implanted suggestions in Jen's mind, which triggered certain actions when he spoke specific words. The doctor told Jen she could not remove Colin's suggestions because of the many sessions she had with him. However, she could help by adding one suggestion to assist Jen. When Jen returned home, she researched more about Colin and learned about Dr. Xavier Sullivan, Colin's mentor. Xavier had worked for the CIA years ago, gathering information from enemies and clearing their memories. Jen visited the house and felt she had been there before. In the clinic, Colin revealed the truth to Jen. He had been depressed after his wife's death and had hypnotized girls who looked like her to make them become his wife by implanting all of his wife's memories in them. Initially, the girls seemed fine, but over time, they changed, and he began to dislike them. Some, like Andrea, even opposed him, so he killed them. Colin said Jen was different because she had all the good qualities of his wife. Colin told Jen that after a few more sessions, she would completely become his wife. That was why she remembered the house while hypnotized. He also revealed that Xavier was not his mentor but his father. After saying this, Colin told Jen to wake up. She found herself in Colin's house, not his clinic as she had thought. Colin had made her believe she was in his clinic while she was actually in his home. When the police arrived at Colin's clinic, they found no one there. Wade realized what had happened and went to Colin's house. At Colin's house, Jen could only talk and move her eyes. Colin was preparing her as a bride to celebrate his marriage anniversary with his wife. Wade arrived and opened the door. Jen started to come back to her senses, but Colin told her to hold on to the bed and not let go. Jen was stuck and couldn't move. Wade found Colin and they fought. Jen tried to control her subconscious mind and let go of the bed. When she saw Wade and Colin, Colin told her to sleep. Jen fell, but with courage, grabbed a gun and shot Colin. She then lost consciousness again. When she woke up, Wade was in front of her. He told her everything was fine now because Colin was dead and his team was coming. Wade said, "I promise my love, I won't let anything happen to you." This phrase triggered a response that the lady psychiatrist had implanted in Jen's mind. The suggestion made her aware of the real world when someone called her, "my love." Jen realized it wasn't Wade but Colin. She fought back, ran away, and found Wade, who was injured. When Colin arrived, Jen took Wade's gun and shot Colin. She then took Wade to the hospital. Jen went to Brian, who was still not well, and apologized. The movie ended there.